Hello and welcome to another craft time. Last week we made homemade palm fronds for Palm Sunday. This week we are going to make butterflies. Butterflies remind us of the resurrection of Christ, and tomorrow is Easter, so we're going to make some butterflies. So I have stuff that I just found around the house. You can use anything that's kind of like this that'll work for you. First of all, you'll need a pair of scissors again, although if you're using paper, you could, in theory, tear most of it. But you also will need either some twist ties. I actually had a couple of pipe cleaners. These are sparkly ones, but any pipe cleaners will do. But also you can use string or yarn or thread. I had some thread, so here's my thread. Now, you'll notice that again, just like with the palm fronds, look, we've got newspaper, we've got advertisements, we've got some scrap paper. I also found that I still have some coffee filters, so I grabbed some coffee filters, and I had a little bit of fabric, and you can use fabric as well. It needs to be a fabric that's a little bit stiff though. If it's really limp, it won't look right. So here is how we make little bitty butterflies for Easter. Let's start with the coffee filter. So you take a coffee filter, put it in half, and then you don't have to be real careful about this, just cut it in half. Put it together like this again, and cut it in half again. Now the reason why you do it like this is because you want it to be too deep for the coffee filter. The rest of them don't have to be. And then you turn it down just a little bit, just makes it a little easier, and you scrunch it together. Now I'm going to use one of the twist ties, and I twist tie around it. See how I'm doing that? Twist tying. Now right now, that doesn't look very much like a butterfly yet. Watch this, because it's got two. It's a little butterfly, a little white butterfly. Now if you want to, you could try to color this with markers do it before you cut it and everything. But you can just have it be a nice pretty white butterfly. So there's a butterfly. So we can also use scrap paper, and you just cut your scrap paper. You notice we're making small butterflies. We're not making really big ones. Take your piece of scrap paper and you squish it together. Now let's use a piece of string this time. Now I will tell you, scrap paper is a little harder to do, and if you're doing string, you might need some help because you have to hold it in place, and you tie one time and hold it in place. This is hard to do if you're on your own. So newspaper and advertisement paper, fabric is a little easier. And then tie it again. Now, open it up, and looky there, you got a little butterfly. Okay. Now, maybe you have advertisement paper. So this, again, you just cut a piece. We'll make this one a little bit bigger. Set that aside. Squish it all together. Oh, let's use one of our big pieces right now. Do like that. Doop and doop. Now the nice thing about the advertisement paper is you can squish it a little bit. You see how I squished it to make it a pretty shape? So there you go. Okay, now we also have newspaper is a lot like advertisement paper. It's a little softer, but it still works really well. Let's go ahead and take one of our pieces of fabric. Now I just had this fabric around the house, and so I cut some of it, and here's a square of it. Now, and then just go like this. Use the string again. Again, the fabric, if your fabric is really tough, if it's really strong fabric, string, you almost need two people because you've got to make sure your fabric is nice and squished in the middle. and sometimes it'll want to not be squished. So you have to hold it down tight. There we go. Good. Now, that doesn't look like a butterfly yet, does it? No, it doesn't. So we got to do a little work on it. And open it up. See how I'm opening it up? Oh, now it's a butterfly. There we go. There's our pretty butterfly. See, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that's a nice butterfly. Now, let's say you're working with any of them, newspaper, whatever. Here's a piece of newspaper. You know those butterflies, they kind of look like bow ties. Well, they do a little bit, but if you want your butterfly to be a little more like a butterfly, you can do like that. Do down just a little bit, not a lot. And then you can do like that. Leave that one pointy like that. And come in just a little bit so you have a center. Then you go back, do your butterfly. Gotta get your twist tie or thread or whatever you're using. And now your little butterfly looks a little more like a regular butterfly. But you don't have to do that. This is supposed to be quick and fun to do, so you don't have to do all that extra work. Now, a couple things to show you. So you can also, if you're making your butterflies, you can use, and you're using string, you can start to tie them to one another like this. So let's see, there's another one. I can take this, do like this, take my nice long piece of string, go a little higher up above the other butterflies. And remember about tying it tight. Gotta hold it down. Now, if you are a little person, make sure that you get help from an adult to cut stuff, okay? Be really careful. We don't want anybody to get hurt while you're doing this. Then, here we go. There's another butterfly on there. So now we've got this pretty line of butterflies. Yeah. And 3 butterflies reminds us of the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Look at that. But so we've got butterflies like that. We've got our different fabric butterflies. This one I put on there, but I also put on strings. So if I wanted to, I could hang this butterfly up somewhere. I made it with the twist tie, you see, but then I added a string to it. So if I wanted to, especially the fabric ones, or maybe you could find some kind of plastic from an old plastic bag that doesn't, that you're not using for anything, and you could make them, and you could hang them outside in the trees if you wanted to. So here we've got lots and lots of butterflies. Look at all of our butterflies. And you can make them any different way, whatever you've got on hand. And then, if you make enough, you could tomorrow on Easter, you could give them to people and say, Happy Easter, Christ is risen indeed. And say, this butterfly is for you, and it's to remind you that Christ is risen. Because butterflies are a symbol of a resurrection. And our God who came to be with us, although they tried to kill him and his love on the cross, Jesus rose after 3 days, and that's what we celebrate at Easter. So make some butterflies, and maybe you want to hide them around the house so you guys can go on a butterfly hunt. And who knows, be creative, but have a good time. And happy Easter. And I love you all, and I'll see you all again soon. Take good care. Bye.